What would you say to women that feel like, well, that's the only way for me to become successful is for me to monetize my looks or my body? In year two of your business, you made 500K.
Yes.
And then your best year was 1.2 million. So from 3K in your first year to 500K, how? How?
Social media, people don't realize like all it takes is one video.
Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I am bringing you an amazing interview by Kayla Parrilla. She is a designer, an entrepreneur, a mentor, an investor, and an all-round grounded young woman. The reason why I wanted to get Kayla on the channel is because she embodies what I've been trying to teach you women. She's grounded, she's humble, she's hardworking, and she's successful. And I know that you guys will be so blessed by today's interview. So take out your notepads, grab your pens, grab a snack, and enjoy today's interview. Hi, Kayla.
Hi,
How are you?
I'm good. How are
Good.
you?
I'm fine, thank you. How's your day been?
It's been it's been okay. It's really rainy right now, so it's just like a little slow.
Oh,
A little
is
slow.
it? Oh, okay. Well, we're gonna get straight into the interview. My name's Breeny Lee, by the way. And today we're just gonna be talking about, for me, this interview is about inspiring young women. The way I came across you was on TikTok, and I was like, who the heck is this? Who is this with all the boldness, all of the vim, all of the energy? And I was just like, I need her on the channel ASAP.
Propaganda I'm not falling for is wasting your 20s. Like, I'm literally in a five-star hotel, I'm ordering room service, and I'm sitting courtside tomorrow at a basketball game, and I didn't have to depend on anybody to make this happen for me. I travel when I want, I shop when I want, I don't have an alarm clock, I don't have to work 40 hours a week. I literally can live life exactly how I want to live it. And that comes from literally taking your 20s serious and not just being distracted and falling for that. Enjoy your 20s BS because, yeah, enjoy it, but once you waste it, you're going to be 30 and you're going to be struggling. If that's what you want, have fun, party every weekend, and don't lock in. But I will take this any day. This freedom, travel when I want, do whatever I want. I take this any day over just wasting my 20s.
The people that don't know who Kayla is, tell me who you are in your own words.
I am a not I'm not a one lane type of person, okay? I am Kayla. I would say I don't have a niche. I'm just everything just in one. And I, I'm good at entrepreneurship, I'm good at business, I'm good at content creation. I'm good at a lot of things, but I don't let just one thing describe me. I'm everything. Multi-talented and, skilled and purposeful. And I have a business. I have social media, and I have a lot of knowledge to give. So that's me.
How old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
I'm 25.
25. Okay. And where do you live? Background?
So I live in Florida, South Florida, um, in Pembroke Pines, Florida, and that's where I was, born and raised, and I love it. And what about you?
I'm from London. London, UK, born and raised.
Nice.
Enjoying life.
Nice. I love that for you.
Yeah. So I've watched a few of your interviews, so I know a lot about your story growing up. But obviously on this channel, we want to delve more into, for me, it's about the mindset of a winner, the mindset of someone that is successful. So like I heard you grew up with your parents divorced at one point in time. Is that correct?
Yeah. So I was about like 8 or 9 or 10 around that time, I think. And it's such a long time ago. My parents were together. They did have a divorce, and then my mom was a single mother, and we had to move with our grandma. It was a little hard of a time for us in that moment, but as I got older, we were back and forth, back and forth. I started to realize, more about life, and the reality of life is, if you don't do something for yourself, or you don't start something for yourself, or have a plan, you could easily end up in a cycle, or you could easily fail or live a life that you're just not going to be proud of. So I had to make that decision early on.
As a woman, how do you feel like the effect of the divorce like affected you like emotionally?
I could say as a child, it as a child it affects me, but as a woman, I feel like it just made me realize like I love both my parents and unfortunately some things just doesn't work out. In a perfect world, there would be no divorces, but we don't live in a perfect world. So for me, it made me realize like I can have my own family one day and I could learn from my parents and I could do the right thing going forward. Or I could repeat some mistakes that I've noticed in my family, because a lot of everybody's family, they all have their, pros and cons. So I figured as a woman, it affected me to realize like family is everything. And regardless of the divorce that my parents had, they were both very great parents and, they co-parented very well. So I figured, in my future, I want to have my own family, but I want to keep my family together forever.
That's exactly how I feel as well. I came from a single mother home as well, and I felt like there's no point in blaming the past, but
Yeah.
all we can actually do is actually create a better future for our children. But I know at the same time, my father not being there created a sense of a lack of identity. Obviously, I didn't
Yeah.
know that at the time, but I feel like looking back, I feel like women need their fathers. They need their
Yeah.
mothers as well, the affirmation, the love, the attention. And for me personally, me not having that made me look for it elsewhere. I don't know if that was your story, but is there any way that maybe your pet did you get still see your father even though you were living with your mother? Or was he
Yeah, my
still
dad,
very present
my
in
dad
your
was my best
life?
friend. Yeah, my
Okay.
dad he actually didn't live in America. He actually moved to his hometown, but he would come visit and I would talk to my dad like every single day. If my mom got me upset, I'm like, "Dad, like I hate mom right now." He'd be like, "Don't say that you hate your mom." Da da da. Like he always reassured me to respect my mom, and he was my best friend. No matter what. Although he might have been there every day, he was still a good co-parent and visited when he could. And obviously, but nothing beats that two-parent household, though, I will say. Nothing beats that. And although, he might have been there, there's just still, those things that doesn't beat that having mom and dad every single morning. And I had it, but just not forever.
Yeah.
And it did have some effects.
Right. And how was like your upbringing when you did grow up with your mother and your grandmother? How would you say like financially was you how would you say middle class, working class?
I would say, I don't even know how to describe this, but it was just a really tough time, I would say. Whatever class the tough time came, after 2008, a lot of, of the experience was like my mom, like she was, struggling to, get a better job and, just really elevate. And living with my grandmother, sometimes when you guys are living in a household where, there isn't lack, people are in lack, there's not much positivity sometimes, and there could be, some arguing or some fussing or whatever, and that could, play a role in family dynamics. Sometimes people are, bumping heads because everybody's just in survival mode trying to figure it out. And obviously, like there always just has to be that one person in the family that just recognizes everything and all the chaos and just steps out and just realizes, okay, there has to be a change. And
Mm.
usually most families have that one person that recognizes everything and just be like, okay, there has to be a change.
And that was you.
Yes, I believe so. Yes.
So what was your motivation behind saying that I'm going to be the change? Did you feel like you were different?
I knew that I was different, but not in a ways of like I'm the smartest or I'm the greatest. I knew that I was different because I was just a really creative kid. Like I was into the weird stuff, into like Minecraft or these nerdy games, right? So I just knew that I was different from my sisters. Not in like, oh, I'm better than them way, but I was just a little bit just into different things. I was very creative. I was into art, and I noticed that I had certain skills that I feel like could help me in the future.
Yeah.
And I knew that I just had that realization like, wow, like I could do a lot. I just need to, lean into my childhood skills and just really elevate and, go on top of those things.
Right. So when you were younger, what did you want to do when you grew up?
I wanted to be a veterinarian. I wanted to help animals and save animals. And then I got a little older. I'm like, okay, I could probably get a decent job doing Social Security or something, some government work, whatever. 80K a year. And then,
Whatever pays the money.
yeah,
Whatever pays well.
whatever paid decent or well, I was just like, whatever.
Right. So then how did you make the transition into knowing that you wanted to start a business?
I was just on Instagram one day, and I feel like Instagram shows us like a different side of the world. Some people hate on it, but I love it. It shows us different sides of people's lives and what they do. And I seen a person designing on their computer. I'm like, okay, I know I'm artistic. I can do that too if I really put my mind to it and tried. And that's where it all started from.
Right. And prior to social media and doing what you're doing now, what were the types of jobs that you had?
I was a cashier at Kids Foot Locker at a point. I was earning like $7.25 an hour. And then after that, I quit. I didn't like how they would talk to me. And then I got another job at a school as a aftercare counselor at my old middle school. And after that, I, quit the job, and that's when I started my business right after.
Right. Okay. So for those that don't know, can you tell us a little bit about the first business that you started? And so the clothing line, was that the first business that you've ever started?
Yes, that is the first and only business I've ever started.
Right. Okay. So what was the inspiration behind getting into that?
The inspiration behind that, I would say, was just viewing an Instagram story. I seen a friend designing a shirt, and then I'm like, clothes. I love clothes. I love to shop sometimes. I don't have the money to shop right now, but what if I can create my own clothes one day? Because I was a broke college student, or and I was entering college, and I'm like, shoot, I feel like I can design these things. And then I tried it. And I'm like, okay, cool. I failed at first. I'm like, I give up. I don't care about this anymore. 3 months later, I'm like, let me try it again. You need to learn this, you need to focus. Got on my computer, I started designing clothes, and I'm like, okay, I can definitely do this. And it literally, that's how it all like opened up for me.
So you're right. So what are the stats of your business right now? How much have you made in total?
With my clothing business,
Yes.
so we recently just passed over $4 million in sales.
Congratulations.
Yes, thank you so much. And over, I think like 35,000 orders and 39,000 orders, over 39,000 orders. So that's where we are at currently, hoping to pass over 5 million by December. So yeah, that should be another Instagram reel once we complete that.
Amazing. And when did you start the clothing line? What year?
I started in 2019. Um, yeah, 2019. And that year was a pretty crazy year. So
Right. So just before the pandemic, you decided to launch a clothing line.
yes.
And your clothing line is men, would you say it's unisex or it's men's? Because all of your models are men.
Okay, yes. Yeah, I would say unisex because I do use a lot of male models, but sometimes I'll hop in the videos to just show people like, okay, a girl can wear it too. You guys can wear it with your boyfriend or your brother, or whoever you can match, right? It is unisex. And I do have some girls try to come in and model, but majority of the time it's the boys because that's just like majority of my audience.
Right, amazing. So what was the inspiration behind the hoodies and the streetwear? What was that? Is that your vibe? Are you like a casual babe, casual glam babe?
I would say it used to be my vibe when I was like younger. I used to play basketball, so I was kind of like a tomboy. I did like, tomboy clothing, streetwear clothing, and I was like, okay, cool. Like I can wear a hoodie. I love hoodies. I love jackets. And that was in the past, but I figured I'll always have an eye for it. It's like if you know how to cook, right now you will always know how to cook forever. So I know how styles look good back in the day. I know that I can keep evolving with what is trending and what will look good for the future.
Right. Okay, so for those of us who are, working a 9 to 5, who may be the same age as you or older, what are the pros of being a entrepreneur versus having a 9 to 5? And what do you think about, do you feel like everyone should be an entrepreneur, or do you feel like people should do what they're good at, if that makes sense?
I would say people should do what they're good at, but not everybody is going to have the drive or the skill set to be Tom Brady. Some people might have the skill set to be, the other team member on the team. Some people have the skill set to be like the quarterback, the head of the operation, but not everybody has that, and that's okay. Now, there is pros to being an entrepreneur. You get your freedom back, you get to make a lot of money. You get to utilize holidays versus where as a 9 to 5, you got holidays off, you're not making any money. 9 to 5s, though, people I admire the fact that they do get, benefits, health insurance, health care. things like that, which, makes a lot of things easier when you have a job, or let's say like your mom or dad has a job, you can, go on their benefits. So I say each one has their pros and cons, and people should do what they're good at. But if you know that you're one of those people that just has bigger dreams for yourself and you don't know how you're going to get it with your 9 to 5, there's other ways to grow your money by becoming financially literate, by maybe even starting a business. It doesn't have to be something that you want to do forever, but you never know, that could be the vehicle to getting you some more financial, growth in your bank accounts, your investments, whatever. But I really feel like regardless of what you do, the most important thing is financial literacy. But the easiest and the best way to accumulate large amounts of money is through entrepreneurship and business, and skills, like having good skill set.
How does a person know they're ready to leave their 9 to 5 and pursue entrepreneurship? How do they know that this is their time?
As soon as they're tired of their 9 to 5 and they're like, okay, this is getting a little tiring, because sometimes we're such in a cycle that we don't even realize, like, you're so used to waking up at 6 a.m. and then getting up to go to work, and then you become in a cycle that you're just so comfortable with. But then eventually you start to think, like, what if I just, you know, question? Like, the more that when you start to question life more, that's when you know you're ready for entrepreneurship. When you go through life in just the same motion every day and you're not really questioning life, or like, how can I be better? What can I do to become better? How can I make more money? You're not ready. When you start having those questions about how can I elevate? How can I make more money? Is this job going to pay me? Is this job going to help me retire early? When you have those questions, that's when you know you're ready, and it's time for you to start doing your research, and it's time for you to start your plan.
But what if someone's questioning, am I enough? Can I be an entrepreneur? Can I work for myself? Because I've been an entrepreneur since university. So I didn't really have like a working 9 to 5 job like ever. So I kind of went from university straight into entrepreneurship and working for myself. But there are some people that, took the route of 9 to 5, and now they feel like they're stuck. Maybe it's the safety, or maybe it's the fear of the unknown, or maybe they don't feel like they're capable. What would you tell someone that wants to make the leap, but something's holding them back?
I would say that if you want to take the leap and you feel like you have a safety net, understand that with you taking the leap, you don't have to feel like this is your one and only opportunity in life, because we are meant to fail. I'm pretty sure that one person that might be afraid to take the leap has had a failed relationship before, a failed friendship, right? And you probably went into that relationship thinking that's your last person, that's the person you're going to marry, you're going to be with for the rest of your life, right? The same thing applies for business, where it's like you want this thing to work forever, but you won't know until you try. You won't know until you show up and you fail, and you treat failures as not so much as you're losing, you're not doing good enough, but you're learning. And we all have to get out of our comfort zone. And it's like, if something's easy and you're just so, it comes too easy to you, how can you grow? You have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable. And if you can't break out of that mindset, I'm sorry to say, but you might just need to settle. But who wants to settle? Are you okay with settling for something for the rest of your life? You have to ask yourself that question. Because if somebody's okay with settling, there's nothing that you can do to break them out of that.
Mm. So what would be a practical first step for someone that is like that is in that mindset of I want to, but I'm not sure? What's that first initial step, would you say?
I would say create a list of what will happen if you don't try. And then create a list of all the things that could potentially happen if you did try and when you win. Not if you win, but when you win. Because thinking about if, what, or maybe is not going to really get you in the right mindset. Thinking about what can go right and focusing on what can go right. If I stay at this 9 to 5, same salary, 50-cent raises, same money, same problems, whatever. Trying entrepreneurship, what can I do and what will happen when I win? I could make a lot of money. I can have my freedom. I can have my time. I can help my mother. I can help my sister, whoever. I can do a lot of more things. And you focus on what can go right, and you act in ways that will help you get to that level,
Right.
I would say.
Right.
Yeah.
So on the topic of what can go right, I just wanted to share some of your stats. Please correct me if I'm wrong. So in a year one of your business, you made 3,000.
Yes.
In year two of your business, you made 500K.
Yes.
And then your best year was 1.2 million
Yes. That was the third year.
in a third year. Wow. I mean, wow. So from 3K in your first year to 500K, how?
Wow.
How?
So social media, people don't realize like all it takes is one video and some momentum and sometimes all it takes is just a little bit of momentum. Like once you get some momentum from your business or your social media accounts or your pages, you have to keep riding that momentum. You can't let the match or the fire die out. You got to keep adding to the fire and keep fueling the fire. You cannot let it die out. And that's the one thing that I did to get that to that 500K. And it's like I could have gave up on that $3,000 year, an entire year I only made $3,000. That couldn't do anything for anybody today. And I could have easily just said, this is just not working out for me. Maybe I should just stick to the 9 to 5. I would have never seen the $500,000 year if I just said I quit. So social media got me there. Posting, utilizing a free opportunity that we all have. We all have the opportunity to sign up for an Instagram page today. We all have the opportunity to share our story, right? YouTube, Instagram, Twitter, we all have the same resources to share our story and our product. We don't have to pay to use these apps. So I figured, let me utilize them as much as I can.
One thing I realize about social media is that because it is so easy, sometimes people don't see the opportunity right in front of their face. And I find that because it is I feel like if it was free, if you had to pay for Instagram or you had to pay for social media, I kind of have a sense that maybe people will use it. But there is this sense of fear that a lot of people have with putting themselves out there. And one thing that I've noticed from Gen Zs to millennials, I'm in a millennial category. And one thing that I guess I started with on social media is this kind of like perfect curated content. And sometimes I get stuck in that rut of, oh, it has to be perfect. But what gives you the inspiration to just, whip out your camera and just start talking? Because every time I scroll my TikTok, your face is there. Every time I scroll my Instagram, you're there and you're talking, your boldness, and you don't care. You have friends like everyone else has friends. You have family that know you like everyone else that are scrolling and looking at you. But there's something in you that doesn't actually care. What is that thing in you that says, I'm going to pick up my camera and I'm going to film? So, because I know if I create this content, I'm going to create sales.
Yeah.
What is that I don't care attitude? And where did it come from?
I feel like that comes from me. I used to want everything to be perfect and or just look good or make sure that my everything looks good about me before I film or make sure that it's a day that the sun is out or whatever. And I figured there's somebody else that is, doing what I do in my niche. And there's women like that I actually follow right now that are posting every single day. And I'm like, wow, I know their stats. I know how much they're earning. I know how much they're making because we're all in mutual fields of business and we have the same colleagues or whatever. And I'm like, wow, what are these women doing that I'm not doing? And I realized they're posting 2 times a day, 3 times a day, story, everything. They're not making sure that they look perfect all the time. They're just posting. They're posting, they're posting, they're posting. I'm like, their work ethic, right? They're making how much they're making because their work ethic. They don't care. They're posting, they're just doing whatever. They don't care about the likes, they don't care about the views. At one point, I was caring about my views. I'm like, wow, this person doesn't care and they're making a huge amount of money. Why should I care? Right? If you have an audience you're trying to talk to, it doesn't matter if you get 100 views. That's 100 people. Imagine 100 people coming up to you and saying, hey, I want your book bag or I want this. Like, you're like, wow, my God, it's a lot of people. So I'm like, it doesn't matter. Like, I just have to post. And I think about every single time I post, I'm like, look, like that big house is not going to get itself, keep posting. You got to keep posting, and that's how I go about things. Like, I just don't even care anymore. Like, I don't care. I don't know. It took me to start posting. I forced myself. I set alarms. I'm like, okay, first reel of the day, second reel of the day. Okay, I post my first reel by like 2 p.m., second reel by 8 p.m. or before that. And I started to get in a habit of, first I would do 3 reels a week. Then I'm like, okay, let's do 5 reels a week. I'm like, okay, the girls that are really eating out here and doing it are doing like 10 reels a week. Okay, let's amp it up. And I started doing that. I tried it and I just kept pushing myself regardless of how I felt. Because when you feel how you feel, you get stuck in your feelings. That's about everything in life. When you allow yourself to feel everything how you feel for too long, you get stuck there. I remember Beyonce said something happens to her, whatever she's sad, she gives herself 72 hours to feel everything, and after that, it's in the past. And a lot of people that are stuck in like, oh, they victimize themselves. They are stuck in their feelings and in the past. They're stuck in that feeling. You cannot be stuck in your feelings if you want to move forward. And that's what I realized. I cannot be stuck in my comfort zone. Okay, 2 reels a week, that's not enough. Do 10. And I started doing 10.
No, that's actually really good advice because I find that a lot of people suffer from embarrassment. Like you said, oh, my reel only got 100 likes. Or I think the hardest thing, especially for creators that are already established, if one reel gets 30,000 likes and the other one gets 100 and everyone can visually see it, I think people get stuck with that. But you're saying that even if it's 100, and one thing I'll say is that because you have a business that you're selling, and it's not the business that you're selling is not just yourself, I feel like you have more incentive to actually get up and get it done because you know that those videos are going to convert into sales, right? It's not just because it's not vanity metrics in a sense of you're just shooting content because you want everyone to like your content, yeah, if that makes sense. So you actually have a goal. And also, one thing that you said is that you follow a lot of people that post a lot. And I think that's really key because who you're following and the bubble that you put yourself in can either be limiting or inspiring. And you have a bubble that's inspiring, that is working and moving, so you don't feel like the weird one. Yeah. You just feel like part of it. So who we follow is actually, you would say, is very important as well. Who you surround yourself with, right?
Yeah, and honestly, I don't even hang out with these people. Like we're just mutuals on social media. They don't, I've never went out to hang out with them. I just see, okay, they're killing it. And I have a mentality, if I see somebody doing better than me, I'm inspired immediately and I take notes of what they're doing right. And
Right.
I add it to my own game. So that's how I go about things. Some people be like, like they'll see somebody doing their thing on social media. They'll be like, maybe it's just fake, or maybe, I don't think like that. I think, wow, like what can I learn from this person? How are they doing so well marketing? What can I learn from this? And I take what I can learn and I apply it. So
What would you say is the Kayla mindset that motivates you every day to like get up and keep going? And even the mindset that you had to have in the beginning to start the business. What is that mindset that most women your age just don't have? What do you think it is that makes you different to the point where you're actually able to run a successful multi-million-dollar business? What differentiates you from everybody else, would you say?
I think that women my age or around my age group, they're very like, I don't know, like I don't know. I want to do this, but I mean I like this, but I don't know. They don't know. And I'm also someone that sometimes I don't even know what I want to eat. Okay, I can't decide that sometimes. But when it comes to creating something like a business, starting my business, the mentality that I had was just like, okay, I started to learn how to organize. I organize the same way that if you want to take a trip, sometimes girls are good at organizing things, planning out their birthday, whatever. That's the same thing that applies to starting a business. You don't have to be like a super hyper focused person. You just need to be able to create a plan and just sticking to it without, being all over the place and being like, I don't know. When you're all over the place, you just don't know anything. You don't know where to start. You don't know what to do. Having a plan, it doesn't have to be extremely detailed or make $100,000 by tomorrow plan. It just needs to be the simplest of things. And when you start getting on that habit of planning and having your life organized, things become easier. You become in a schedule, you get in good habits, you develop, discipline. And that was easy for me because I know I used to play sports, so I learned how to become disciplined at an early age. Yes, I still have my very lazy moments. Like I don't want to get out of bed, and I'll sit in bed rot for however long I want. But when it comes to my work, and important weeks, I will sit, plan, organize, and follow through with what I have to follow through with.
But what is motivating that? Because some people just want to lay in bed all day, every week,
Oh,
every month. Like they
that
don't want to
motivating
work.
part. That motivating part, I would say, comes from seeing more. Like the more that I see, the more that I want to be. And it becomes a game. Like I would say success can it could become a toxic game sometimes because once you start seeing your wins, like I didn't come into the success game like thinking like I want to make $1 million. I just came into it like I want to start something. I want to be good. I want to hopefully I can save $20,000. Hopefully I can get a BMW one day, not a crazy BMW, just the most basic regular BMW. That's all I wanted. All I wanted was $20,000 and just maybe to graduate college. Like I had the most simplest, goals, but I learned good discipline and then I got blessed with 10 like way more than what I was, expecting for myself because I figured out how to, organize and then the motivation came from just seeing more. Like there's people that have BMWs and then I went to my family's house and I seen like one of my my uncle's wife's her family's house and I seen like they have a huge house. I'm like, okay, that's motivating. That motivated me. That's the one thing that I will say just motivated me out of everything. Like I just seen they have a huge house. I'm like, wow, people live like this. I would love to do this one day. So if I just maybe stick to this business plan, things could work out for me. And I was really shocked that I made $1,000 in a day. And I'm like, wow, imagine if I did this just 10 more times, I'd have $10,000. And I just kept following through.
There are some women within the Gen Z and the millennials that don't feel like they should have to work. What do you think about that? They want a soft life. They want a soft life. They want to be taken care of. What do you think about that?
Um, if that's what they want, you know, you have to want something to try it, to experience it. So, if you want something, I would say go for it. I don't really, know how that, I know how it goes, but if that's what they want, go for it. If you meet someone that actually loves you and wants to give you that life, like, go for it. Sounds like a good dream to me. Sounds cool.
Why is that not your dream?
It is my dream actually.
Oh,
I
it
do. It is my dream too. And for me, it's like I know even though I have like my own, investments, business and everything, that still doesn't take away from the fact that I would want someone to, lead, provide, and start a family with one day. I would want someone there and I would want companionship one day. But just because I have what I have, that doesn't really take away from the fact that I would, want that life too as well. I'm just able to give it to myself in the meantime, until I am married and meet that person. But it's girls that want that, like there's nothing wrong with that. You could still have a business and you could still meet someone that, wants to provide and do all these things for you. I've seen it. I myself I've met some great people and it's not something that can't happen. That's what you want. Want what you want. It's real out there.
So if you met someone and they wanted to retire you, you didn't have to work anymore, would you give up your whole business for that?
Hey, I mean, when
The
do you want me
first
to
breath.
do you want me to retire, I feel like I'm in a pretty good position to where I could do that to where even if they wanted me to retire and give up my business, I still have, built a great foundation and base for myself to not need to work again anyway. So it's like, if that's what somebody wants to do, like I'm not stopping you, like, hey, it's all right.
So is it that you like to work, or do you feel like you're working because you have to? Because if someone was to take that away from you, do you feel like you would miss that hustle and that feeling that comes with winning?
I wouldn't know until I experience it, honestly. But personally, it's like I personally sometimes I work because it's like it's fun sometimes. It's great. It's just like my hobby. But if I got work taken away from me, I would fulfill my life in other areas like that I already do just 10 times more. But it's like if you want to go to the gym, you have to do it in the small time window that you have because you have work or you have to pick up your kids or you have to do this with your friends. But let's say that you didn't have work. You're allowed to go to the gym at any time that you want. You can go to dinner at any time that you want. You could cook and spend a lot more time cooking meals that you don't even know how to cook and, have time to make mistakes because you have all the time to do that. Right. But when you're on a schedule, it's like, okay, I have to work, then I have to cook. Why not cook something that I already know how to cook because it's going to take me 30 minutes versus I have all the time in the world. I could learn a new meal. I can try this. I can do that. I can paint. I can learn how to do an instrument. You get more time to do everything. So it's just all about how you go about it.
So if I said housewife or entrepreneur, which one would you choose? today?
Um, if the house is I mean, is the house in the suburbs? Like, yeah, I mean, shoot, I don't wouldn't mind. Like, being a housewife, it's like it's not just like not doing anything. Like you're still gonna have passions and things that you do. So, if I had the opportunity to choose to be a housewife, I mean, I would. I'd just probably be on TikTok scrolling or making content still because it's fun to make content. Like it's fun. So I don't know. Like I'd have to experience. I wouldn't know because I never experienced it, fully. So it's like, damn, I wouldn't be able to know. Like if I was a housewife, I'd be like, okay, I don't want to do this or whatever. But I mean, who doesn't want to be a housewife? Like,
Okay, on the topic of, I guess, dating, do you feel like do you feel like dating has changed for you as you've become more successful? And is it harder for you to then meet someone that is on your level in that sense?
I would say that yeah, dating has changed. I feel like when you are a woman that you have like your life together, you have everything in line for yourself, you figured your life out. You're probably gonna meet a lot of older people. um and successful people as well. It's just, the morals, you have to make sure that the morals are aligned and everything. But I feel like dating has changed for me. It's just like there is, quality options, but it's probably less than it's like if I was just a normal person, I'd probably get a lot of DMs if I post like a picture or whatever versus like my Instagram might just seem like a business oriented thing where I might just get DMs from people that are on my level or, just it'll probably filter out a lot of people that might be afraid to shoot their shot because they're like, oh, she's too good for me or something. So I would say that that's how it changed, but
So you're saying that there's less options the more successful you get. Is that what you're saying?
I would say there's less of a flood of options. It depends on how you run your Instagram because I don't even, my Instagram's like just a business Instagram. So it's like, I don't know, like it's hard to explain. I would say that there is more quality options, just less people are gonna like lust after you. More people are gonna contact you if they know they're serious to try to talk to you versus like, before I had my business Instagram, I just post regular pictures. I'd get like hundreds of hard eyes, just hundreds, because all my Instagram is just of me posting my selfies, me looking good, me posting myself. Like it's like when you don't really have anything to post, like, oh, I just dropped this cooking book or this ebook, it's like the only thing on Instagram that you're marketing is yourself. Like, oh, I look cute today. I'm doing this. I'm at the beach. I'm doing this. So it's like, what else can people say to you besides you look good? I like your outfit. You look sexy, whatever. And that's just what it was. Now my Instagram is more, hey, like I like what you're doing. It's just less of that, but more quality people that I follow and interact with.
What about in real life? Do you get approached?
In Miami, yes. If you're in Miami, you're gonna get approached. Like always. Like, anywhere you go, you're gonna get approached. But yes, I do get approached, but that doesn't really like mean much to me. Sometimes you get approached outside if you look good or whatever, but it doesn't really mean much to me. I feel like um
Is it hard to date in Miami because of the superficiality? And I see that you're a woman of substance. You're not just gonna go for anything, right? And you don't. And one thing about you that I see is that you don't lead with your looks. You're a beautiful woman. You don't have to try too hard. You post all these beautiful pictures, but I feel like men respect you, which is probably why you're not getting these floods. But if that right person that will filter through, they'll step to you in a different way than I guess if you're walking on the beach or you're walking down the street. Do you know what I mean? There'll be a different type. Yeah, there'll be a different type of person, and I definitely do believe that. Like you, I feel like as a woman, when you lead with more than just your physical appearance, there is a different there's a different level of respect and intention coming from the opposite sex. Would you agree with that?
I would strongly agree because of the experiences. It's just like a lot of things that I hear like people go through is like, yeah, I met this guy and he didn't even ask me this. He didn't even open the door for me and do this for me. It's like, some people just, it's life, respect. It's life. A lot of people, if you see somebody if you go out, right, and you see a guy and he's fit, he's in shape, other men are probably going to respect him because he respects his body. He has, built up something for himself. It's just automatic respect levels. You know what I'm saying? Like if you look out of shape and you're trying to sell me a car, it's like you don't respect yourself. People that are in shape or are fit, they get more respect just organically, naturally. And that's like the same thing with like women and men, right? It's just life. It's how life is. A lot of people don't really want to hear that reality of things. That unfortunately, yes, sometimes when we go on Instagram pages or you go on someone's Instagram page, the first thing that you see is what you're probably going to go based off of. If you go
Mhm.
on a man's Instagram page and you see, real estate investor, and you see him posting, houses and knowledge and things like that, he's probably going to get more respected, and you're probably going to be more inclined to see, what this guy's about. Versus if a guy, you go on his Instagram, he's in a ski mask or he's displaying like he's in the streets or something, you're probably like, I don't want to talk to that guy, right? It depends on your standards too.
Yeah.
But different levels of, of that, aspect, I feel like the way that you portray yourself, people want to do business with you versus if you portray yourself a different kind of way, people might not want to do business with you. It's like your image is everything. Like how you portray yourself is everything. Whether people like it or not, it's just a realistic thing about life.
Right. What do you feel about like I'm not sure, maybe we're in like different worlds because I feel like I see a lot when I look at Instagram, and because I do have like follow a lot of influencers, I do see that there's a seduction for maybe regular people or regular women to lead with their appearance because that's what they feel like they have to in order to get attention. However, I look at someone like you and you have the confidence, you can come in, no makeup, baddie, bust down, whatever, and still show up. Where does that level of confidence come from where you're a beautiful girl? You could have just like relied on your looks. You were posting pictures of yourself before. You could have continued doing that and maybe lived a similar lifestyle to what you're living now, but it wouldn't have come from that level of hard work and brains.
Yeah.
What would you say to women that feel like, well, that's the only way to for me to become successful is for me to monetize my looks or my body or all these other things? What would you say to a woman that maybe doesn't have the looks or doesn't have the body to monetize? But in the world like we are in now, it feels like that's currency for women. What would you say as someone that I believe doesn't lead with that and has still has confidence, if not more confidence? Because for me, you seem like someone that's very well grounded. And that's why when I came across you on TikTok, I was like, wow, a girl not talking about how pretty she is. Oh, wow, a girl not talking about her body. And I'm not saying that to put anyone down, but it's actually, it sometimes becomes like all you see. And so when I came across you, I was like, this is so refreshing. Very, very refreshing, especially as a young woman. So what would you tell someone that feels like that's all they have to do in this market?
I would say, um, showing up as a woman, like, yes, as a woman, your looks can be currency sometimes, but it could only be currency for so long. There's tons of beautiful women that don't have any substance to them, and all they have is their looks.
Mm-hmm.
And I would say that you don't always have to lead with your looks. Being a beautiful woman is a plus. It's amazing. You get a lot of perks from being a beautiful woman, but, you should always want to have some type of substance to yourself or have something for yourself to where you don't always have to just lead with your looks. Because at the end of the day, there's a lot of men that would be like, if she's a beautiful woman, but they might get, tired of her because she's not really that good on the inside. She probably has no substance. She doesn't stimulate his, mind. She doesn't really do much. She doesn't care about anything because all she thinks that matters is just her looks. And some women, they might get far with that, but not that far. I know a lot of beautiful women that have substance to them, even if they don't have the business that I have, they still could be a normal girl that works, but she still has substance. She's still a good woman. She still has spirit. She does, good things around her community. She's kind, she's peaceful. Like it's not just about your looks. And some women understand that. And for the women that, might have that confidence, or, they might not be, to everyone else's beauty standard, there's gonna be somebody that's gonna appreciate you, and there's gonna be an audience that likes you for you, right? I might not be a IG model that posts my body 24/7, but there's going to be my audience that cares about what I have to say in my niche, which is why I post how I post. Like I don't really care to do the most all the time, but I have my audience that I have to feed content to, right? I'm not marketing to all the guys or whatever, the girls. Like I'm literally marketing to my audience. Like this is what I do for a living. So I just stopped caring. I post how I post, and whoever is out there that likes me is gonna be for me, and that's just what it is. My audience is my audience, and I cater to them first because that's the people that have got me to where I'm at today. They're my platform, they're my audience. I have to cater to them first because that's how I'm gonna keep growing in my field, you know?
That's amazing. That's very well said. Where do you feel like your substance comes from?
Um, just being curious, my substance would come from just my mind. Like I'm just a very curious person and I like to share things. Like I can literally yap anyone's ear off sometimes. Like I just like to talk sometimes. So my substance just comes from my curiosity. I love learning things. I love learning from people. I love listening more than speaking sometimes. I really do like listening to other people. So that's where my substance come from. If I was always a person that could just talk and talk and talk, I would have nothing valuable to say. I'm also the person that loves to listen and learn. So I could also, pour things out of my own mouth that are also valuable for others to hear. And that's where my substance come from. I was always a big observer. I was very quiet. I was very shy in class, but that doesn't mean that I was just like a weirdo or just antisocial. I was antisocial, but I was not a weirdo. I was really quiet. And I was always an observer of my environment. That's how I am. Like I'm an observer, which also played into my great discernment about who I should be around, who I should hang out with, and things like that. So just being an observer is what really, uh, you know, really ties into my substance as a person. I learn a lot of things by being able to just shut up and listen and just observe and just take in. Like that's where my substance comes from, I would say.
That's amazing. I know you're a believer, you're a Christian.
Yeah.
A little tell us a little bit about that. When did you get saved? Did you grow up in a Christian house? What's your relationship like with God? A little insight into Kayla's world, spiritual world.
I grew up in a Christian household. My grandma would pray to us at night, like take us to church. I would go to church with my mom, my dad, and mom, grandma, whatever. And I'm Christian. I have my belief in God. I love God, and I feel like at one point in my life I was just doing whatever. Like I would say when I was like a teenager, like I just like I probably cursed a lot. I probably just was just doing whatever, not being the nicest, laughing, being just like regular teenagers, not knowing what life really is until I turned 17 and I realized, okay, I'm about to graduate high school in a year. I need to focus on my real life. And that's when I started to think about, okay, spiritually, I learned about, thinking in a positive way. Like I just really got into my spirituality, like abundance, like what I learned what abundance was. I learned what law of attraction was. I learned, the laws of the universe. I just learned a lot of things that also applies to what I read in the Bible. It's like God literally tells us, control your thoughts, control what you think because your thoughts control your life. So these things just like really started to impact me. I started to realize like if I'm gonna get somewhere in life, I need to change the way that I think. Like I used to be very anxious, very, oh my God, stressed out all the time. Like I have my phases where I still have anxiety, but I really pray about everything majority of the time. And I have gone through things where now I'm at the point where anything could happen. I'm just like, yeah, God got it. Like I don't even stress that much anymore. I know that God has it. I've seen, me go through failures in my own business. And I'm like, okay, like, do I really have faith? If I have faith, I know that this situation is going to prevail and it's going to work out for me. So yeah, that's where my faith lies.
I love that. It's very, very cutesy. um, I heard in one of your interviews you said that you have like I think it was a reel actually. You were talking about how you have your group of friends and you have the people that care about you. So you don't really care about anyone else's opinion. Um, your friends, would you say that they support your business and they support you? And does your friends have to support your business? Because I hear a lot on social media that people say, strangers support me more than my friends. Has that been true for you?
I would say I feel like sometimes like my friends, I have friends, but I don't have like close friends. But that's just how my personality is. I don't like to have people that are too close to me because that comes with a lot of responsibility. Like that's just my personality. Like I don't like to have everybody's close to me because everybody starts feeling entitled to my time, my calls and texts. I don't like that. Like
I'm
I'll
the
talk to you in 4 months and we talk in 4 months and you don't be bothered by that. Like that's how I am. So my friends, they supported me in the beginning, I would say. I could tell which friends are genuine, which friends aren't genuine, which friends are just making sure that they show up just in case things do work out. They could be like, yeah, I've been supporting you. There's different tiers of people that you have to pay attention to. But I would say, yeah, my friends supported me. But friends that I met along the way, like people that I like newly met, strangers, they support you like the hardest. And I'm not even mad at that because we can't expect people, to just go hard for us. I have friends that went hard for me, but you can't expect everyone to do that. So yeah, strangers, they're gonna fall in love with your story because they know nothing about you. They have no bias on you. They're probably gonna love you harder and support you harder than your own friends, and that's okay. So
So you feel like women shouldn't put too much emphasis on friends supporting what they're doing or agreeing with what they're doing, because I do feel like a lot of women, we feel like we need that validation from the girl cubs before we can actually like break out and do something. But you've managed to create a separation, I see, from your sense of self-worth, your validation, and what other people think, whether that's friends, family, whoever. You've been able to validate yourself.
yeah, I've been able to validate myself since the beginning because when I started my business, I had friends that were just being very weird to me, and just I got my heart broken by friends. Just went through like a lot of stuff, and it's just a hard situation to even talk on. But I would say that your friends are going to be here in the beginning, and as long as they're in the beginning, they might get caught up and they might forget to support you, but it's like as long as they show up to what really matters, like that's all that matters.
Mm.
Um, and our friends should support us in the beginning. Like if you're starting a business, right? You don't need your friends' validations to start, but their support should be there. Like they should be commenting on your photos. They should be, shouting you out. They should be, just supporting in the free ways that they can. That's what matters. And I did have some friends that did do that, that I still don't forget to this day. I love them for that, of course. But yeah, your friends should be there in the beginning. And as time goes on, like, of course, I post so much that I realize, like, not all my friends, like, people got used to my success. They're not going to comment on every single video every single day.
And that's okay.
That's okay. And they'll comment my birthday post. As long as they say happy birthday, we cool. Now, if you don't say happy birthday, I'm side eye you. But as long as you show up to what really matters over time, like it's only so much someone could keep up with every single post, every single thing. Like it's a lot. So as long as they show up to what matters, like that's what you should just pay attention to.
I think that's very wise, because I do see a lot of, like, I don't have expectations from people, friends, anybody. I know that if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it. And whoever likes it, whoever doesn't like it. But I do feel like a lot of women feel like their they need it. They need it from their friends. Otherwise, you're not my friend. So that's actually really, like, really, really good. I think I saw on your TikTok recently that you made 1 million in investing.
Yeah.
Was that totally from you starting without any help, or did you have tutors, teachers?
From so I reached 1 million in investing. That was just money that I was investing for my business, my clothing business. But the knowledge that I gained to learn how to invest, I did my own research, and I also had people around me that would I would learn from. But I follow people that inspire me, right? I don't follow people that don't really inspire me too much unless they're my family, like, okay, we cool, we cousins, I'll follow you. But the majority of the content that I'm trying to intake is inspiring things, and I learn from people that are doing better than me. So somebody that has 5 million invested, I want to hear what they have to say about investing, and I study that. I take it in. I make my mistakes along the way, but I still learn. And that's how I pretty much got there, was just learning from people that are doing better than me in that area. I would say there's a lot of financial people that are into the stock market that I watch videos on, YouTube's on, and just learn from in that aspect.
I hope you guys feel as inspired as I do right now. I will leave all Kayla's information in the description box below, but do me a favor, comment down below what you are taking away from today's interview. What inspired you? What triggered you? And what are you going to do differently to shift your mindset? Until next time, guys, I'm Breeny Lee, your mindset mentor.